Our story tonight is Jenny and the Cat Club, written and illustrated by Esther Averill. Chapter 1. The Cat Club, or the Life and Times of Jenny Linsky. In Captain Tinker's garden, once upon a time, there was a cat club. All the cats and kittens in the neighborhood were members, all but Jenny Linsky. Jenny Linsky was a small black orphan cat who lived with Captain Tinker. He had found Jenny in a street where a dog was chasing her. No one knew where she had come from, and the captain took her home. He was very kind to Jenny. She had cream and chicken every night for supper. Her coal-black fur grew soft and glossy. Her yellow eyes began to have a happy look. One day the captain said to her, "You and I must always be best friends." And that made Jenny's heart beat fast. But the captain added gently, "I think a little cat like you should go outdoors sometimes and play. Lots of nice cats live in this garden." Jenny had often heard the cat club singing after dark. They do have fun, she thought, but she was too shy to say hello to them. Shy little cats need help, thought Captain Tinker to himself. Captain Tinker, who was an old sailor, liked to make things and many years ago had learned to knit. He knitted a woolen scarf for Jenny, a bright red woolen scarf to go with her black fur and yellow eyes. How Jenny loved that scarf! How brave she felt when she was wearing it! And one fine night she put it on and went into the garden. It was a lovely garden full of flowers and trees and bushes. On three sides were rows of pink brick houses. On the other side was a tall board fence that kept the dogs away. Jenny and the captain lived in the brick house that was covered in ivy. Jenny crept softly through the grass and found a hiding place beneath the rose bush. There she waited for the cat club. She waited a long time. Suddenly a slim white cat sped through the grass, dashed up the maple tree, and began to sing. This was Concertina, the club's secretary. She sang, "Come all ye cats and kittens, with your whiskers and your mittens, come a-running to the cat club jamboree." Mr. President came first. Mr. President was a well-fed cat who always wore a collar with his name and number on a tag. He walked slowly out of his brick house and took his place, the chair he called it, on the meeting ground beneath the maple tree. Then the others came. They came one by one and two by two from darkened doorways and over the tall board fence. They formed a circle in front of Mr. President. And here we have a picture with a caption of the cat club under the tree. What it says down here is that Concertina in the maple tree gives the signal for the cats to come. Just before the meeting, Mr. President speaks to his young nephew, Junior. The fluffy cat is Butterfly. The twins are Romulus and Remus. The cat jumping over a flower is Macaroni. Solomon, the wise cat who can read, sits on his books and watches the two great fighters, Sinbad and the Duke. The two cats in earnest conversation are the sweethearts, Arabella and Antonio. Let's go back to the story. Mr. President opened the meeting and spoke a few brief words about a money matter. Afterwards, the club moved to the porch of Concertina's house. Jenny stretched her neck and, peeping through the rose leaves, saw everything that happened. The spotted twin cats, Romulus and Remus, crawled through the kitchen window and returned with a large paper package. "A feast! A fish!" cried all the cats. They tore off the paper and devoured the fish. After they had licked their paws and whiskers, the lovely Persian cat, Butterfly, brought out her nose flute and began to play. The cats sang and danced and joked until the wee small hours when, one by one, the club went home. The last cat to go was Jenny Linsky. She had not dreamed the cats could have such fun. Night after night she crept into the garden and watched the cat club from behind the rose bush. "What clever cats they are," sighed Jenny. "All All of them can do things. Look at Butterfly. She plays a nose flute. Look at Macaroni. He can dance on his hind legs. And what can I do? Poor little Jenny. There was nothing she could do. But she was content to watch the others at their fun and frolic. One night, to her surprise, Romulus and Remus were going to the meeting, poked their noses right into the rosebush, and cried gaily, "Hi there, sister! You're the new cat, aren't you?" The twins were in such lively spirits that Jenny did not feel afraid. "Yes," she answered, "I am Jenny Linsky." "Well, Jenny, wouldn't you like to join the cat club?" asked the twins. They did not give her time to answer. They whisked her off between them. But when they reached the meeting ground, fear overcame her. All the other cats were there, staring at her with their gleaming eyes, as if to say, "And what can you do, little black cat? What can you do?" This was too much for Jenny. She gave a yowl of terror, and she fled home. The next morning, Romulus and Remus went to Jenny's house, looked through the garden window, and called, "Jenny, Jenny Linsky." Jenny did not answer. She was lying on a soapbox in the cellar. The twins had come to cheer her up, and they went away discouraged. In the afternoon, the Persian cat, the lovely one named Butterfly, pressed her silky face against the window pane and called, "Jenny, Jenny Linsky." Jenny did not answer. She was still lying on the soapbox in the cellar. Butterfly, too, went off, discouraged. In the evening, the entire cat club, singing loudly, trooped through the garden on their way to Jenny's house. Mr. President came first. Behind him walked Butterfly, playing on her nose flute. Concertina followed. She had a high soprano voice, and she led the singing, and behind her, one by one and two by two, the singers marched. First came Romulus and Remus. Next, Mr. President's young nephew, Junior, accompanied by Solomon, the bookish cat. The fancy dancer Macaroni followed. He was waltzing. Behind Macaroni came the sweethearts, Arabella and Antonio. And lastly marched the two great fighters, Sinbad and the Duke. And all of them were singing. "Meow and a purr, we want her, Jenny, Jenny, Jenny." And alas, they sang too loudly. A man who could not sleep threw down a bucketful of water and broke up their fine parade. The members scampered home to dry their dripping fur. They did not meet again until the following night, when they had other plans and did not go to Jenny's house. It was summer, and in the summer the cat clubs are always very busy. So in the end, the club in Captain Tinker's garden quite forgot about poor Jenny Linsky. Still, you cannot blame them. You cannot expect other cats to think always of your troubles. Jenny, who was ashamed of having run away, now stayed indoors. Time dragged. Now and then she played games with Captain Tinker. But when night came, and she heard the cats in the garden, she longed to be with them. "And that will never happen," she sighed. "They are too clever. All of them can do things. What can I do? Nothing." Time passed. The birds flew south. The honeysuckle and the rosebush lost their leaves. Winter came, and everything was frozen. Then Captain Tinker flooded the garden and made a pond where the boys and girls could skate. One day, while Jenny watched the skating from the window, she turned suddenly to Captain Tinker. "I should love to skate," she said. "That's something I could do." Jenny was surprised that Captain Tinker did not answer. She went to him and put her paw upon his arm. "Captain," she said, "if only I could have some skates." Captain Tinker remained silent. He sat in his armchair, puffing at his pipe and looking thoughtful. Jenny did not know that out of the corner of his eye the captain watched her as she climbed the stairs. Upstairs, she hunted for skates in the bureau drawers and on the closet shelves. She found nothing. In the night, while Captain Tinker was asleep, Jenny came downstairs and searched the downstairs closets. She ransacked the drawer where Captain Tinker kept his fishing tackle. She found hooks and lines and corks, but no skates. In November it snowed, the first snowstorm Jenny had ever seen. All afternoon she watched the snowflakes falling. By evening, the garden was entirely white. Jenny stole outdoors and hunted in the drifts. She found snowflakes shaped like flowers and stars and spiderwebs, but no skates. I'm glad Jenny has gone outdoors at last, thought Captain Tinker. Now we shall see what we shall see. Bright and early the following day, the captain went to his workshop in the cellar. He closed the door behind him and would not let Jenny in. All morning she could hear him tapping with his hammer. Mysterious hammering and tapping went on for many days. On Christmas Eve, Captain Tinker came upstairs with something in his pocket. Jenny watched him as he lit the Christmas candle and pulled back the curtain. "The stars are out," said Captain Tinker, looking at the sky. And as he said it, he took out of his pocket 4 little... Could they be real? Jenny stared. She reached out and touched them, oh so gently, with her paw. They were real, and they were silver, and they had sharp, shiny blades. "Ice skates," she whispered. "Silver ice skates. Oh, Captain." The captain strapped the skates on Jenny's paws. They fitted exactly. Her ankles wobbled for a moment. Then she felt quite steady. Captain Tinker tied her scarf, and she went into the garden. At the pond she hesitated. Which paw goes first, she wondered. She struck forward on her right front paw and glided. And then with her left hind paw she gave a shove and glided further. She began to skim across the ice. It was a pretty sight to see her skating with her red muffler streaming and her bright skates flashing in the moonlight. She cut figure eights and flowers and stars. The Cat Club saw her. They were at the other end of the pond and had been singing Christmas carols. Their mouths hung open and their bulging eyes were fixed on Jenny Linsky. No one in the club had ever seen a cat skate. Suddenly Romulus and Remus cried, "Jenny! Jenny Linsky!" And all the other cats cried, "Jenny! Jenny Linsky!" She glided toward them. Romulus and Remus dashed to meet her, and before she knew it, she was standing in front of Mr. President. "Mr. President," said Romulus and Remus, "we hope that this black cat, a friend of ours, will now be asked to join the Cat Club." Mr. President looked at Jenny with his beady eyes. "What is your name?" he asked. "Jenny Linsky," she replied. "Where do you live?" "In Captain Tinker's house." "Can you do anything?" asked Mr. President. "I can skate," said Jenny proudly. "Yippity yip yip yip!" cried all the cats. And when the cheering died down, Mr. President addressed the club, saying, "The question is, shall our distinguished guest, Miss Jenny Linsky, who can skate, be asked to join the Cat Club? All cats in favor, raise a right front paw." Every member raised a right front paw. All cats opposed, kick a left hind leg. But no one kicked a left hind leg. 2 cats went into the bushes to count the votes. They came back quickly and whispered in Mr. President's ear. Mr. President looked satisfied, and he turned to Jenny. "Miss Jenny Linsky," said Mr. President, "the votes have been counted. I have the noble honor to inform you that you are a member of the Cat Club." "Mr. President," said Jenny in a high, clear voice, "and you, my trusty friends, I thank you." Jenny could have made a longer speech, but the Cat Club crowded around her, hoping for a chance to touch the silver skates. That's the end of Chapter 1. This is a Cat Club emblem. The emblem will be made in little medals for the members to wear on their chests. Here are pictures of the cats in the club. There's Concertina, who can sing, Romulus and Remus, the twins, Junior, Arabella, and Antonio, they're the sweethearts, Butterfly, the fluffy cat with the nose flute, the Duke, one of the fighters, Macaroni, the fancy dancing cat. Sinbad refused to have his picture taken. Solomon, the bookish cat, can read, and our good friend, little Jenny Linsky. Tomorrow, we're going to read Chapter 2, Jenny's First